This video goes over the top 5 island destinations that are a very easy trip away from the United States. The reason I like the Bahamas is because it has something for everyone. If you want to just lie on the beach, relax, have a cocktail, enjoy high luxury resort amenities, you've got the Baha Mar, the Atlantis, among other different locations. If you want to explore a little bit more, if you want to go to the casino, you've got that at the Baha Mar as well, along a number of different high-end restaurants. And then if you want to kind of go more off the beaten path as it relates to the main island of the Bahamas, you can go to the district/area where there's a lot of old British colonial houses and stay at a nice bed and breakfast, and you'll find that these places have a lot of really interesting restaurants and stores around them. We went to a beach called Love Beach, which was in the nearby area. Great walk. Overall, the beach was beautiful, the water was great, very, very crystal clear, like a swimming pool. And we went to a really amazing local restaurant called the Studio Cafe. I personally love conch fritters, and so this was just, an amazing experience for me. And overall, if you want to do diving, snorkeling, you can go to outward islands like Zuma, Bimini, Andros, etc. The Bahamas truly does have something for everyone. Number 4 on the list is Curacao. We stayed in an amazing resort called the Papagayo. It was right on the beach. There was a big beach club where they had festivals. There was a lot of good food options nearby, and it was only $150. It was a great location. Curacao generally is cheaper than a lot of the other islands in the Caribbean, which is great. Very good value for money. And as far as the vibe of Curacao as a whole, it really stayed towards its roots historically, as it's a former Dutch colony. The main city, Willemstad, almost felt like a mixture of Amsterdam and just a standard Caribbean port. But you've got government buildings from the 1800s, you've got a historical row of old houses with Dutch architecture from the 1700s. It really feels like a very unique place in the Caribbean. And when we went during King's Day, which was really interesting because it was a lot of local people who were originally from the Netherlands, along with Dutch tourists who came to party on the streets, and it was really unique being part of that. Then the other thing that's important to note about Curacao is that the food and drink scene is very, very good here, although a little bit expensive. You've got a lot of Dutch snacks like bitterballen, you've got stroopwafels that are sold and made in all sorts of different forms. You've got a lot of interesting Spanish and Portuguese restaurants because those cultures and countries also did have a role in the historic colonization of Curacao. And then as far as the beaches go, the beaches are just really, really nice. You've got to drive up a ways to see them. We drove through a little marshland where there was wild flamingos along the way, but once we got to the beaches, there was a few that you could choose from. You had Casabao, which was a great beach with good snack bars. You've got Klein Nip and Groot Nip, which were great for snorkeling and good visibility and had very beautiful white sand. And then you had Playa Pescado, where we actually scuba dived. Very famous for a huge population of turtles that hangs nearby, along with a very healthy reef. Highly recommend the diving in Curacao. And then as it relates to day trips, you can take a catamaran to a little island that's about an hour to an hour and a half off the coast of the main island called Klein Curacao. Really fine white sand, good snorkeling, beautiful water. The crew's great, they serve drinks and food on board, and overall it makes for a great day trip. And in terms of the nighttime views of the city, it's just beautiful looking at the skyline, quote-unquote, lit up across the sea, and then the Queen Emma Bridge in the backdrop. Great times in Curacao, we really loved it. Number 3 on the list is Bermuda, and Bermuda is unique in three ways. Number one, you've got the fact that it's actually not in the Caribbean, but rather in the Atlantic, about a 2-hour direct flight east from New York City. And you wouldn't think a destination this area would be tropical like the Bahamas, etc., but it's actually got some of the nicest beach and tropical water scenery I've ever seen in my life. Then the other two things that make it unique are the British influence and the pink sand. The pink sand beaches in Bermuda are some of the nicest in the world. If you go to places like Horseshoe Bay, you can get a really, really good experience just, looking at the beautiful tint of the sand, going for a swim. And I will say that Bermuda felt like one of the more culturally authentic islands, just like Curacao. A lot of its British architecture, roots, etc. is still very much alive. You've got a lot of people who are from England who are now living in Bermuda, so that really adds to that. And there's lots of places you can get a really authentic high tea, good English breakfast, so on and so forth. Then one thing that's also important to note about Bermuda is if you go, it's really best to go in the summer. Unlike a lot of the other islands around the US, like the Caribbean where you'd want to go in the winter because it's hot and muggy, or hurricane season in the summer, Bermuda's climate pattern is the opposite. So you'd want to go in the summer. Best months are between June and September, and lots of stuff to do there besides the beach as well. You can go golfing, they've got great golf courses. There's also a really unique crystal cave that you can explore. Looks like from a different planet, and overall Bermuda was just an amazing experience. Number two on the list is Turks and Caicos, and the reason I picked Turks and Caicos for number two is because out of anywhere I've been in terms of islands in the general vicinity of the US, the Turks and Caicos has the most beautiful water I've ever seen. The water is just a million different shades of turquoise, royal blue, dark blue, all in the most perfect combination. A lot of the main resorts are on Grace Bay, which is on the main island of Providenciales, and even the resorts here, as opposed to needing to go to very remote islands via boat, these beaches are still some of the nicest you'll ever see. A lot of times with Caribbean islands like Puerto Rico or the Dominican Republic, the beaches directly on the land aren't quite as nice, and you have to go by boat to some of the more nearby islands off of the main island to get the most pure beaches, but it's not this way here. Turks and Caicos, the beaches are amazing. The food's actually quite underrated. There's a little inlet in the middle of the island called Chalk Sound. We got really good seafood at a place called Neptune's Villa, and overall, Turks and Caicos was a great experience just from the beaches alone. But then the other thing that makes Turks and Caicos amazing is the wildlife. We did a snorkeling trip via catamaran to the barrier reef of the Turks and Caicos, and we got to swim with a mother and baby dolphin. I got to swim with another dolphin, which was great, and we saw beautiful reef fish all over, and it was just a fantastic experience. Number one on my list is St. Barths. St. Barths is truly a special place. The way that I would describe it is if you plopped a seaside village, a really nice coastal town like Saint-Tropez from the south of France straight into the Caribbean, you'd get St. Barths then. St. Barths is really, really magical. The water is crystal clear, just like any other Caribbean destination. You've got some of the best food that you could get on the Caribbean islands. We had amazing traditional French food along with French-Japanese fusion. Lots and lots of really good options. The beaches there are super nice. The coastal scenery is fantastic. The island is very lush with lots of greenery, volcanoes, etc. You can rent a car and really explore. The main city of Gustavia is phenomenal because historically it was captured by the Nordics, and that's why a lot of the main architecture that you see looks very Nordic, but of course it's been now bought by the French, and to this day it remains a French territory, so it's fully part of the French Republic. You do not really think of it in terms of once you're there as the Caribbean, but rather this is France located in the Caribbean. And that's what makes St. Barths really unique. And then the beaches, of course, are absolutely amazing. You've got a lot of beach clubs where there's like parties, there's DJs, and the overall scene is just something else. Overall, St. Bart's is my favorite destination in the Caribbean, close to the